Welcome everybody to Ignite Light Up Your Life. I am your host Jessie. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe and ding the bell for future notifications of video content. Okay, so thanks for having me, and I just wanted to do a brief video today talking about the 3 steps in finding a mental health care provider and one that's right for you. So step 1 is something that I think is integral to basically any problem-solving process, and so identifying the problem is key. This isn't always straightforward, but if you can, it can be really helpful in finding the direction that you're trying to go. So for example, think about the type of symptoms that you're having. So like looking for a doctor, if you have a broken bone, you might want to go see an osteopath or a doctor that specializes in repairing bones. But sometimes our symptoms and our problems are a little more vague than that, and we don't understand their origins, or sometimes there's just a lot going on in our lives, and sometimes we have to think about, okay, are my problems just a collection of unfortunate circumstances, or are they in me? It's sometimes hard to tell whether you think you're going crazy or if you just have a big pile of problems that any healthy person would respond negatively to. You know, the healthiest of people in the world suffer from bouts of anxiety and depression, at least at some point in their lives. So those kinds of symptoms aren't exactly something wrong with you. But if these kinds of things persist, then that might be an indicator that you should start looking for somebody to talk to. Now here's the thing. Number 2 is do your homework. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't even know the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, or even what most counselors do. And here's the thing. Counselors and psychologists don't even know what other counselors and psychologists do. There's so many different areas of specialty, and there's been a lot of things that have happened over the last century that have changed the way we license and educate and accredit people who work in the mental health care industry. So the first thing you might want to do is look up the requirements for licensing mental health professionals in your state. So for example, the state of Washington, if you go to the Department of Health, they have a whole licensing area where they talk about what the requirements are for a counselor to become licensed in the state of Washington, their scope of practice, all of that. Keeping in mind that every state has its own set of requirements for licensing mental health professionals. The cool thing about the state of Washington, though, is it has one of the highest standards for accrediting counseling professionals, and so it's sort of like the highest bar you could hold a counselor to, because there are some states in the US that have very little licensing requirements, and there are plenty of charlatans out there who don't know what they're doing. And so it's been a struggle for the counseling professional identity to establish itself in the public eye as something different from medical doctors who practice psychiatry, or people who research the nature of the mind, like psychologists. Okay, so you have to understand that there are differences, and that counselors have a wide range of specialties also. And so that's why it's important to, 1, identify the problem, and 2, do your homework on the type of providers that are available in your area. And so anytime you go to a doctor or a counselor, you're going to sign an informed consent form. And this is basically going to tell you what your rights are, their scope of practice, things that you can expect, and the limits of confidentiality. So within this is also going to be a description of the counselor's specialty. They're going to tell you exactly, this is what I went to school for, this is what I specialize in, and this is the target population of people I'm trying to help. Now you can find profiles like this and overviews on psychologytoday.com, I think, is the magazine, that they actually have like a database where you can go in and punch in your zip code and stuff, and it'll help narrow down professionals and specialists in your area, and each one of them will tell you, oh, well, I specialize in cognitive behavioral therapy, or I specialize in oppositional defiant disorder in children. So those are going to tell you exactly what they're treating, so you can figure out how to solve your problem. And so last step, I have it written down here. Hold on, I don't have all my thoughts together. Test the waters. Okay, so Don't be afraid to just go out there and try a counselor, okay? Not every single one of them is going to jibe with you. It may be that their approaches really aren't helpful for the problem that you're trying to solve. It may be that you need to see a same-sex counselor. It took me years to realize I just needed another male counselor. I don't know why that is. Maybe males understand male predicaments a little bit better. I don't know. So you're just going to have to find what jibes with you, and don't be afraid to say, oh, I don't like this one, I'm going to try this other one. It's okay. You're not going to connect with everybody, but the important thing is you make a solid connection with the person that you're talking to, somebody that you can trust. That is first and foremost. If you look at studies that measured the efficacy of all the different kinds of counseling and interventions out there, they all do fairly well the same, but the common thread among all of them is that there was a strong, healthy, therapeutic relationship established from the get-go. So it's about that connection you make with somebody, and then from there, you take charge. You are the arbiter of your own change. You decide what's a priority for you, and the counselor is simply there to encourage the best part of yourself to make those changes. They're not there to advise, they're there to connect with you. And so I hope all of this information was helpful, but because there's so many people out there that really do want to help, and there's a lot of people out there that need help. So please take this information and make use of it if you can. Thank you so much, and remember to like and subscribe.